Hi everybody, my name is Amy and I'm one of the librarians who works in the Pennsylvania department at Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh. Since this is a series aimed at answering your genealogy questions, I figured I would talk today about the most common question we get in the department. And that question is, how do I get started on my genealogy research? Well, I take that back. The most common question is, can you show me the file on my family? And unless you're famous or they were famous, the answer is usually no, and that would just make for a really short video. So back to the getting started question. In the before times, when people could come into the library and ask us that, my answer to them would always be, well, go home. You're not ready for the library or for Ancestry or for any of that other kind of help yet. You have homework to do before you can really get started on genealogy research. So then they would give me puppy dog eyes and I would show them how to find Ancestry. But unless you know what you're looking for, clicking around in Ancestry can actually be really frustrating because you don't know what you need. And so you're just looking at a bunch of information that doesn't necessarily mean anything yet. So the answer, go home, or right now, stay home. And use your favorite search engine to look at examples of a blank pedigree chart. It'll look a little bit like the one that I will post in the comments below. There's a million variations on this, but all of them give you a way to start organizing the names and dates affiliated with the people in your family, the people that you're going to be researching. So you'll start by putting yourself on the first line. In this example, it's all the way on the left. And you'll write down also the places and dates relevant to you. Where were you born and when? Where did you get married and when, if you're married? Fill all that in. Then you'll move back one generation and do the same thing for your parents. When and where were they born? When and where were they married? Do the same thing for grandparents, great-grandparents. Most pedigree charts will start you with 4 or 5 generations on them. And trust me, that is going to be more than enough to work with because you are going to start very quickly finding blank spots, information that you can't fill in on that chart. And as soon as you hit that first blank spot or question mark, that is where you start your genealogy research. So how do you get started? First, if the people that you have questions about are still living, call them. Ask them, hey, mom and dad, what was your wedding date again? Where did you get married? If it's grandparents and you're lucky enough to still have them, call them, ask them their questions. If the people you have questions about are no longer living, call the members of the oldest generation of your family. They will have information that they can share. If that generation is yours, well, call your cousins, call your siblings. Everybody will remember something a little bit different about all of these people on your pedigree chart, and they will have information that they can share. And even if it's a guess, and I think it was 1942, write it down. Because at that point, you have something to go on, something where you can start your research. Definitely put a star or question mark next to that information on your pedigree chart, but it gives you a starting point. Eventually, you will start collecting documents that confirm the information that you're collecting, and at that point, you can go back and fill in the right information and erase those question marks. So once you have checked in with your family members and written down all of the kind of questionable information that people are remembering, what else can you do from home? Well, what else do you have at home? Do you have a shoebox full of documents that you got from your grandparents and you've been meaning forever to sort it out? Do you have a family Bible? Do you have photo albums that show previous generations of your family? All of these can be really great resources to start putting the pieces together on that pedigree chart. So then, once you've gone through all of your family members and once you've talked to the people who might know the information and once you've looked through all of those home sources that you might have, then you can start doing research in Ancestry and Family Search and all of those other online databases. Now here's something that a lot of beginners don't realize, and that is that the more recent the information you're looking for, the less likely it is to be on Ancestry or any of those databases. So depending what you need will determine where you go to start looking for the documents that back up what you think you know. So as you're starting this process, if you have any questions on where to find certain types of records, please reach out and ask. That's why we're here. We're happy to help. So I presented this as a way for beginners to get started on their research, but it's also really helpful for experienced genealogists to step back sometimes and look at what they have with fresh eyes. As we go through the research process, we learn a lot about the records we're collecting, but go back and look at that initial set of information. What did your little newbie genealogist self miss in that first round of records that you collected? There may be details hiding there that you didn't realize were there when you first started your research. So I know this can seem like a lot and it can seem intimidating if you're just getting started, but really you are working from what you know and then filling in the blanks. And it's just one step at a time further down the path. So it can be a really, really rewarding process if you're just patient and take your time with it. So what questions do you have now that we've talked through this process of getting started? Please post your questions in the comments section below and we will do our best to answer them. That's all for this week. Thanks for watching. Bye.